Hi everyone, this is Ronnie, and this channel's all about raw food and stuff and other things that I do and share. And I've got a book about my raw food lifestyle if you want to check that out. There'll be a link below. And I help people one-to-one coaching and things like that. And I have an event, UK Fruit Fest, and it's not happening at the moment, but I might put some of that stuff down in the link so you can explore that in the description or whatever. Anyway, the video today, basically I had a friend call me out on this coronavirus stuff, and he was basically because I've been against the lockdown since about 2 or 3 weeks after the lockdown stuff. So I don't know where you are in the world. You might be in a place where there's no lockdown, but in the UK there's been various lockdown restrictions and regulations. Um, and some of it's like the law, some of it's recommendations. So it's not illegal to not wear a mask in a shop, but it is highly, recommended to do that. And however, it is illegal, I think, to have gatherings and certain things. Um, I'm not sure if it's illegal or just whatever. Like people aren't doing it, and things in England things shut down a bit more, and I'm against all this stuff. And my friend was kind of challenging me on that and getting he was getting pretty to be honest, he was kind of angry about my, and I think everyone else, all the other friends that I don't, a lot of them I don't see that much, but they're not from the fruitarian raw vegan movement. They're not into any of that. And they're people that I knew way before that, and didn't I forget the position that most people are at. So he's asking me to explain my position, and I've not really, brought together all the stuff that I've read and looked at and learned, and all the stuff that I've come from before that, before coronavirus even started, that influences the way I look at things. I It's hard for me to put it all together in one comment, you know. And I realize that I'm starting at a completely different starting point to everyone else. And I don't know where you are at, but for me, for example, I know 100%, 100 million% that a lot of the information that is provided to us about health and nutrition and diet is wrong. Stuff from the government, stuff from the universities in textbooks, stuff, and basically in practice what is being served to people as food. Now, the government can't step in and just. I don't think the role of the government is to step in and ban things and make them illegal, unless it's like truly, if something's poisonous and killing people in the moment. But um, at the same time, it does seem like the government actively is promoting things that are not good for people. Now, I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. So you've got to realize as well. I look at things in a slightly different way for a few reasons. Um, and one of the things that really changed my life was becoming more entrepreneurial, which I didn't really intend to all that much. Or it's not really a natural trait of mine, I suppose. But I started the festival, and I had to learn these skills, and it made me look at things in a different way, because I realized how hard it was when what I thought was we were doing something really great that no one else was doing in this country, that was really valuable to a lot of people. And I thought, and we came at it from without any intention of trying to. We didn't have any political intention. We didn't have any. We weren't really trying to make money out of it. We were hoping to cover the expenses and all that. But we were really just coming out at it from what we thought was a good position, or a good, and we thought that would translate to people, and it didn't. And it made me learn so much about people, and then I wanted to understand all that. I wanted to get better at entrepreneurship, and I did a sales job for about 8-9 months, and that was an incredible learning journey. That was really amazing, actually, looking back. And I learned a lot about marketing and messaging and communication and influence and persuasion and all that stuff. So I'm not like a great master at all that, but I know enough that the festival's grown a little bit, and it's done okay, over the years. And I've not had a job for a while, so I've been able to kind of support myself with the things that I've been doing, mostly, just about holding on sometimes. But it changed the way I looked at things. It changed the way I looked at the world. It gave me a lot of sympathy for the people that are running things, whether it's politicians or business leaders or whatever, because they don't really have as much control as people think. They have to be constantly responding to the demands of the electorate, or the public in terms of the politicians, or the customers and the marketplace in terms of business people. And that means that they're really coming from a place that people don't think, but they're coming from a real place of empathy. However, you might not see it as empathy, because like the CEO of McDonald's or something, for example, he's a lot of vegans would be like, well, they should make the whole menu vegan. But that's not true empathy, because it's not actually what their customers want right now. It might be what they need, it's not what they want. And you have to get over what you want and what you think they should want, because it's not about you telling people what to do. It's about you, basically in business, giving them what they want, or finding the people that have the thing that you have to offer or have to give, at least, and not trying to force it on everyone. And it's very costly to try and find people that don't want what you want and try and educate them into wanting what you want. And that's a sure way of struggling in business. You're much better off finding the people that want what you want and giving it to them, or offering it to them at least. And when it comes to the politicians, they're more trying to match the needs and the demands of the public and what they're worried about, and they're reacting to that constantly. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't see the government as being this big shadow organisation and Bill Gates is in control. I do think that these people have a lot of power and influence, but ultimately public opinion is the big thing about life, and we don't want to take responsibility for that a lot of the time. It's the public. It's the public's fault, and a lot of people want to blame the billionaires, blame the politicians, blame the powerful people. But these people are not truly as powerful as you think. They all have to fall in line to some degree with public opinion, with what the public want. And if the public changes, if the country all of a sudden starts to go vegan, nothing will stop that. There is no amount of money that will stop it. You can't, there's no politicians' rules or laws that can stop it. It's the public's will. And I don't think people have as much. You can't hypnotize people. You can't scam people as easy as you would think. You can't just put some advertising up and change people's minds overnight. It's not as simple a process as that. So in saying all that, I look at the world a bit different way than a lot of people, because when it comes to coronavirus, my immediate reaction is like every other virus that's ever come along, that it wouldn't be a big deal. For me personally, it definitely wouldn't be a big deal, because I look after myself, and I look after my health. I take extreme measures compared to most people to look after my health. I, in the viewpoint of a lot of people, go through a lot of sacrifices to put myself in a good position where I don't have to worry about these things, where I don't worry about them. So I wasn't particularly worried about it. I thought it would basically blow over, and I was wrong. And then when the lockdown happened, I thought, well, that's not going to last long, and I was wrong. I was completely wrong. And what I didn't realise is that people supported and still support lockdown in the UK. In fact, I think the majority of people would rather the schools close down again, which is horrendous. It is so terrible and horrendous that people are putting everything ahead of their children's lives and education. It's such a sad commentary on our world today, I think. My position on coronavirus is that the action being taken is far out of proportion to the threat of the actual virus. Plus, the damage that it causes is very great. And if we are to lock down like this every time something like this comes along, we're going to be doing this all the time. Because the actual fatality rate of coronavirus is not that much greater from what I've seen than what people are talking about with some bad flus and things like that. We've never locked down in the past. Now there's so many questions around this. Is lockdown actually effective? All it does is slow down the spread of the infection. How much? Maybe not that much. I mean, there's so many questions to be like, when the UK went into lockdown, the virus was already endemic in the population. There was somewhere in the region of 1 million or 1.5 million people had already been infected by the time we locked down in March. How much have we really slowed it down? And I had a feeling for a long time that herd immunity had been reached. And maybe I'm totally wrong on that, because there's still a lot of cases seem to be happening. But everything to me about this just seems wrong, in terms of that it doesn't make sense with how a virus would spread. That things are locking down, but everyone's going to the shop. Lots of people are still going to work. It's not like the virus just stopped spreading. You know, and all these measures are not 100%, whether it's washing your hands and all these things. These aren't 100% thing. Then the masks came in way into the game, 4 months into it or something. All of a sudden everyone's got to wear a mask. Is there any evidence of lockdown or masks stopping a virus? No. You know, the two things is firstly, the virus never get into your country. Like, no one gets it. Everyone's shielded from it. No one comes into the country. That's one way to deal with it. The second is herd immunity, which is what we do every year with everything else. We allow that to happen, and vaccines work because of herd immunity as well. So there's a weird thing in coronavirus now times where all of a sudden herd immunity doesn't work. No, we can't do that. You can't do herd immunity, which is very strange, because it's the only thing that works. Once the virus has become endemic, as it already had by the time of lockdown. So there's so many questions for me, but it all starts off with my position on the fact that the information given to us by the government, by even through textbook scientific information, is out of date, is old, is wrong, and there's so many different things the government, for example, the government in particular, has to do. They have to balance so many things up, and they get influenced by lobbying. They get influenced by different groups. They have to look after the farmers. They have to look after different industries. They have to, all that kind of stuff. They've got this complex thing to do, and they're not, unfortunately, just looking at what's the healthiest diet, which would be a plant-based diet, but you're not going to get the government anytime soon coming out and telling people to stop eating meat and and milk. Not when there's like so many, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of farmers that depend on that, whose livelihoods would be very damaged overnight. That these communities would be damaged. You know, that's not going to happen very quickly. It needs to come from the public. And that's the other thing. The public doesn't like being told. Geez, fireworks. The public doesn't like being told what to do by the government. We've seen that with prohibition in America, and it would just lead to a black market if we tried to ban foods or whatever. So I come from that position where I've met hundreds of people in person, face to face, that reversed terrible conditions: multiple sclerosis, ankylosing spondylitis, rheumatoid arthritis, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, obviously high cholesterol, colitis, ulcerative colitis, basically all of the other digestive conditions, but ulcerative colitis being the one I can think of right now. I'm not very quick to say cancer, but some people claim cancer as well. I have met people who said they've reversed cancer, but I think it's rare. But a lot of autoimmune conditions, a lot of cardiovascular issues, which is basically all the same thing. The major chronic diseases, virtually. And then so many people that just different symptoms of pain and joint pains and stiffness and headaches and blocked nose and painful stuff happening in their guts, all that kind of stuff disappearing because of changing their diet, simply changing their diet. And that information is not what is being shared with people. And I don't think that's a conspiracy, by the way. I think it's just that's how long it takes for the people who are in charge of these different organizations to change their mind, because they're still holding on to the information they were taught that they think is right. Everyone assumes that they're holding the truth. You know, people don't walk through life going, "Oh, my opinions are all lies." Like, no one's thinking that. So I know that you cannot trust information that's given to you by these big corporations and by the government. You just can't. You can't trust government scientific advisors. Also, at the same time, I learned that you really can't trust the media and you can't trust the BBC. As a Scottish person with the Scottish referendum, we saw that over and over. You cannot trust the BBC. They were not reporting accurately or truthfully on the referendum campaign. So that let me realise that even the most trusted media source in the UK, the BBC, cannot be trusted. The government is not always saying things in all of our best interest. That they themselves have their own agendas of trying to get back into power, of trying to secure votes. However, the lockdown happened and the public has been massively in support of it in the UK, hugely in support of it. And they, as I said, they want to lock down more. I can't believe that people are allowing this to happen. People do not realise how much damage this causes for a long time. And just damages our relationship with other people, with the world, with how we approach things, with the fact that everyone's been put into this panic mode of other people can kill you. Be scared about other people and coming near them and touching and you know, the mask wearing's not going to end. Like, people are going to be wearing masks probably now for the rest of their life. People will wear a mask when they feel they've got these things because it's been normalised now. So I come at things from that perspective. And then looking at coronavirus, the message just kept changing. We need to lock down to protect the NHS, stop the spread, flatten the curve. Okay, that was achieved within a few weeks or less than a few weeks. So when that happened, when all the cases started to drop in Europe, I thought, well, that's it. That's lockdown over. We're going back to normal life. But no. the population by that point had become so spooked, so scared by it, it became the number one topic in everyone's mind, the most important thing, the only thing. And no one was allowing it to stop. The media kept on playing that tune and kept on scaring people because they were making so much money, and that's what it comes down to. Their agenda is money. The government's agenda is ultimately money as well. Taxpayers' money, taxes, which means maintaining credibility and stability and whatever else. But massive amounts of money, massive amounts of taxpayers' money, your money, has been spent on this. And that's the frustrating thing with the tax thing, is that people don't get that's your money. That's that's your money getting spent, not government's money. Like, that is your money's been taken and used. So yeah, so there's the government perspective and all that. But how do I get all my friends to even start to understand all this when I've been into conspiracies and alternative ideas for a long time, but into the health stuff for really very deeply for 8 or 9 years, very deeply. Have a totally different perspective. I live a totally different lifestyle. I live against what people are doing. I am against what people are doing. I am against the standard way of living with the diet, especially a non-vegan diet, but also an unhealthy diet. And I don't like the plant-based diet. I don't like cooked food. I don't like all that stuff that people do. That when there's incredible, amazing food in the form of fruit, that we could be just having this incredible world with amazing, amazing fruit, that we're having this like sludge food, this like burned sludge warm food. Is that good for your brain? Is that really stimulating, the goodness, the good stuff? So from there, coronavirus, just so many questions, and I feel I'm amazed that people haven't caught up quicker with this. For me, I was happy to go along with this first few weeks. I'm like, oh wow, 3% of people are dying. This sounds pretty bad. After a couple of weeks, when the cases were coming down, when I started to see there was voices of dissent, and very credible voices, like experts who had a different opinion, who were saying this is wrong, that the projections were clearly wrong that led to the lockdown, that all of this stuff, that in the summer it basically disappeared, and then all of a sudden the testing's been ramped up to hundreds of thousands of people being tested, massive amounts of testing, and people are being focused on the cases. At one point they were focused on deaths, then it's cases, then it's something else, like just depending on what the story is. So, but the population are totally sold on this, or a huge amount. They're totally sold on this. And there's nothing I can do about that, really. And if my friends are maybe against what I'm saying, because they're like, look, people have died of coronavirus. Yeah, you're right. But that's not the issue here. The issue is the action here in proportion with what we should be doing? With all the other damage caused, is coronavirus deaths the only thing we should be concerned about in our lives? People haven't been to see live music, comedy, theatre, sport for like 8 months. These are the things that people live for. We don't live to go to work. People live to get together and for art and beautiful things and experiences and being in other people's company. And we want to meet other people. And we're stopping all of that for a very small, tiny segment of the population that are vulnerable to coronavirus, when there is an alternative where they could have shielded, and the whole rest of the population should have actually got out as much as possible, been around each other as much as possible, got it spreading throughout the whole population as quickly as possible, so that herd immunity was reached, and those elderly and shielded people did not have to shield for 9 months to try and stay away from the virus. So it's all been wrong, and I don't know what to do next. Like, I would like to join some kind of movement. I want to go to a protest or something. I want thousands of people to be in like Wembley Stadium or something altogether, like breaking the thing. Like, we need to break the spell. Break the spell. It's lasting too long, and I just think all the numbers have been manipulated to some degree or other for this agenda, and it's very difficult. I mean, recently the government saying they're going to extend the furlough till March. That's another 6 months. 6 months of this nonsense, and yet people are going along with it. It is just bonkers. And one day, maybe in many decades to come, maybe it's going to take so long to get past all this, people will look back on this and go, what the hell happened? It's like a stampeding herd of wildebeest, and all the other wildebeest join, and all the other animals join. What's happening? I don't know. We're running. We're scared. Why? Is there something we're chasing? We don't know. We're just going. We're just all got to go together. Why? We don't know. But we got to go. And then eventually they go, wait, there's nothing. Why are we running? And then they all stop and they look around and they're like, what just happened there? Just panic. Mass hysteria. That's all it is. So thank you for watching the video. Let me know if you agree or not. Put some points down below or some comments. But it's very hard for me to speed up people to my reality when they're still posting to me their pictures of, oh, I had this McDonald's today, I had this Domino's today, oh, I gave this to my children today, oh, you gave, and in my reality I'm like, that food definitely damages your children, for absolute sure. That should never go in a child's mouth, and you're causing immense damage and harm to them. But they would think that's a conspiracy if I tell them that, you know, because everyone else does it. So if everyone else does it, it's okay. That's not how I live. Anyway, thank you for watching.